So visible to you now?
No,
Now
sir.
visible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see the slides.
Okay. Now visible. Can I start?
Yeah, you can start. Okay.
Okay. Good evening, all. Today's topic is hyperglycemia and glycemic variability, the lows and swings. This is my financial disclosure. Next, please. Uh, poll question is, how do we measure glycemic variability? One is amplitude of glycemic excursions, standard deviation and coefficient of variation, and second one is time spent out of range, and three is both 1 and 2. Answer, all you know, that is both 1 and 2. Next slide. Today's agenda is 1. Understanding the hypoglycemia and glycemic variability, and second one is hypoglycemia and glycemic variability and the association, and third one is hypoglycemia and glycemic variability and its implications. So first, understanding the hypoglycemia and glycemic variability. So this is a data adapted from a HAT study. It is an Indian cohort study, a non-interventional 6 months retrospective and 4 months prospective study using self-assessment questionnaires and patient diaries. Number of subjects are 19,563 and patients experience frequent hypoglycemic events, some of which are severe. So there are two bar diagrams. On left hand side is hypoglycemia type 4 weeks before baseline and number of percent of patients, and light blue color is represented by type 1 DM patients and dark blue is T2 DM patients. So on left hand side, first diagram shows any hypoglycemia, incidence of any hypoglycemia, that is, it is more in type 1 DM patients, that 66.3% of patients experienced any type of hypoglycemia and only 46.6% of patients with T2DM experience any type of hypoglycemia. And coming to non-severe hypoglycemia, only 59.8% with T1DM experienced non-severe hypoglycemia and 44.9% with T2DM experienced state. And coming to the nocturnal hypoglycemia, 38% of patients with T1DM experienced nocturnal hypoglycemia, and whereas T2DM only it is only 14.3%. And coming to the right hand diagram, that is hypoglycemia type 6 months before baseline on x-axis and percent of patients on y-axis. This represents the 2 severe hypoglycemia and hospital admission. This is also more in T1DM patients, that is 24.8% of T1DM patients had severe hypoglycemia in this study, and 20.6% of patients with T2DM had severe hypoglycemia, and 14.7% of patients with T1DM required hospital admission, whereas with T2DM it is 7.1%. Next slide. Coming to the levels of hypoglycemia, suspected hypoglycemia or routine blood glucose measurement, patient able to self-treat. If it is yes, do it by self blood glucose measurement. By this you can know whether it is level 1 hypoglycemia or level 2 hypoglycemia. If it is level 1, when the blood glucose is less than 70 milligrams per deciliter but more or equal to 54 milligrams per deciliter, it is level 1 hypoglycemia. It's a time to threshold to neuroendocrine responses. And coming to the level 2 hypoglycemia, when the blood glucose levels are less than 54 milligrams per deciliter and threshold at which neuroglycopenic symptoms begin to occur, that is difficulty in concentration, difficulty in perception, and confusion, all these coma, death, all these points occurs at level 2. It starts with level 2. And when patient is not able to self-treat, it becomes level 3 hypoglycemia, that is severe hypoglycemia, when the blood glucose is less than 40 milligrams per deciliter. There occurs altered mental or physical functioning and requiring external assistance. So, this hypoglycemia is mostly seen from 12 am to 6 am. Next. So, coming to the neuroendocrine responses to hypoglycemia, neuroendocrine responses to hypoglycemia and glycemic threshold for their activation. See, the bold line represents the normal setting and dashed line is the recurrent hypoglycemia. So blood glucose, when the blood glucose is less than 80, there is insulin secretion is decreased in normal persons, but this response is not operative in diabetes because of insulin deficiency. When the blood glucose is less than 70 and there is control regulation becomes active, and first there is increase in the secretion of glucagon and adrenaline to contract the hypoglycemia by glycosenolysis and gluconeogenesis from the liver, thereby it increases the glucose levels normally, and later on in prolonged hypoglycemia, growth hormone and cortisol increases and they also contract, increases the blood glucose levels by glycolysis and glyconeogenesis and lipolysis and proteolysis, all these process by muscle, liver and fat, and thereby increases the blood glucose levels and decreases the peripheral glucose utilization and maintains the blood glucose levels to normalcy in normal persons. But whereas in recurrent hypoglycemias, this glucagon response is impaired, especially in diabetes. When this blood glucose is less than 50 milligrams per deciliter, symptoms of autonomic and neuroglycopenic hypoglycemia symptoms will start. And when the glucose is less than 40 milligrams per deciliter, cognitive dysfunction starts. And when the blood glucose is less than 40, severe hypoglycemia occurs. So, recurrent hypoglycemia shifts the glycemic threshold for these responses to lower the plasma glucose concentrations. Next slide. So, this is the counter-regulation hypoglycemia. So, in acute hypoglycemia, the increase in glucagon and adrenaline causes increased glycosenolysis and gluconeogenesis in the liver, and in the prolonged hypoglycemia, the glucagon along with glucagon and adrenaline, cortisol and growth hormone also increased in the liver, causing increased glycosenolysis and gluconeogenesis. And whereas in the muscle, adrenaline and cortisol increases, thereby increasing the glycosenolysis, glycolysis and proteolysis, thereby increased amino acids and lactate, thereby indirectly stimulates the gluconeogenesis. Coming to the fat, there is increased adrenaline, cortisol and growth hormone, which results in lipolysis, and the end product is glycerol, thereby increases the gluconeogenesis. All these hormones causes decreased glucose utilization at the periphery and increase the blood glucose levels to counteract the hypoglycemia. So these are the main metabolic effects of counter-regulatory hormones during acute and prolonged hypoglycemia. Next. So what are the risk factors for hypoglycemia? First one is young children with, previous slide. Risk factors for hypoglycemia. First one is young children with T1DM, because they should be on insulin for their lifetime. So there is high risk for hypoglycemia. And second one is early pregnancy and renal impairment, and elderly patients, cardiac failure and liver insufficiency and long duration of diabetes due to hypoglycemia unawareness and alcohol ingestion, overnight fast and strenuous exercise and intensive glycemic therapy, example with sulfonylureas or patient on insulin, there is every chance of getting into hypoglycemia. And history of severe hypoglycemia, that is impaired awareness of hypoglycemia, that is hypoglycemia unawareness, and most important is glycemic variability. Next. So what is glycemic variability? What does it mean? It is nothing but swings of glucose. So this slide shows within day variability. There is comparison between two patients with same HbA1c of 7.8%. One patient, patient A, represented by grey color, has low variability, glycemic variability. Patient B is dark black color. He has high variability. The blue dotted line represents the normal glucose levels. So the low variability person had low swings of glucose throughout 24 hours within the day. But the patient with high variability, see this graph, there is more up and downs, and the patient lands in hypos sometimes, and there is hyperglycemia sometimes, and there is more up and downs of glucose levels within 24 hours. This is more important. He is more prone to develop hypoglycemia. Next slide. So this is a day-to-day variability of glucose from 2nd August to just 1 week duration, 2nd August to 8th August. They represent by different colors. Not only within the day, and day to day also there is a glycemic variability. Glucose will swing up and down throughout every day. Next. So how to measure glycemic variability? There are two tools. One is amplitude and second one is time. So one is amplitude. The concept of amplitude using as a measure of glycemic variability. See this slide. There is a normal blood glucose is 70 to 180 milligrams per deciliter. In this graph, within 72 hours, the blood glucose swings the up and down, and sometimes hyperglycemia and sometimes hypoglycemia. It is measured by the amplitude. Next. So glycemic variability indices based on amplitude. It is measured by standard deviation and coefficient of variation. Standard deviation is variation around mean blood glucose intra-day or inter-day, and coefficient of variation, magnitude of variability relative to mean blood glucose. Next. Coming to the second measure, it is time. So the time spent outside the target, that is time spent in hypoglycemia, is time below target, time below range, and or hyperglycemia is time above range as a measure of glycemic variability. Glycemic variability is an important factor for detection of the hypoglycemia, and it is a marker for instability of the person's metabolic function and leads to development of the vascular complications of diabetes. Next. When coming to the international consensus for continuous glucose monitoring interpretation. So this slide, first one shows the type 1 DM patients and T2DM patients. The orange color represents hyperglycemia, that is more than 250 milligrams per deciliter, and it is above the target, that is more than 5%, more than 1 hour 12 minutes, and more than 180 milligrams per deciliter represented by yellow color, less than 25% target, less than 6 hours, and target range is 70 to 180 milligrams per deciliter, more than 70% are within the target, and more than 16 hours 48 minutes. And coming to the older or high risk T1DM or T2DM, more than 250 milligrams per deciliter are only less than 10%, that is less than 2 hours 24 minutes, and more than 180 milligrams per deciliter are less than 50%, less than 12 hours, and target range represented by green color is more than 50% and more than 12 hours. And in pregnancy complicated with type 1 DM, target is more than 140 milligrams per deciliter represented by yellow color, more than 25% is target less than 6 hours, and target range is 63 to 140 milligrams per deciliter, more than 70% are within target and more than 16 hours 48 minutes. And pregnancy and GDM and T2DM, more than 140 milligrams per deciliter, and target range is 63 to 140 milligrams per deciliter. So each incremental 5% increase in time in range is associated with clinically significant benefits for type 1 DM and type 2 DM individuals. Next. So coming to the second part of our agenda, hypoglycemia and glycemic variability and the association. So glycemic variability and risk of non-severe hypoglycemia. So this slide represents x-axis shows the HbA1c, y-axis is hypoglycemic events number for 48 hours per person. So as the HbA1c decreases, goes down from 8.5% to less than 7.5%, the number of hypoglycemic events are increasing, and thereby glycemic variability also increased from less than 1.7 to more than 2.3. Next. So glycemic variability and the risk of hypoglycemia. This is a post-hoc analysis of switch trials. So in T1DM patients and overall hypoglycemia, there are low day-to-day variability is represented by blue color, light blue, and dark blue is medium day-to-day variability. High day-to-day variability is represented by dark gray color. So overall hypoglycemia events are 1113 in low day-to-day variability and 1971 in medium day-to-day variability and 2790 in high day-to-day variability. Whereas in nocturnal hypoglycemia in T1DM, only 129 had low day-to-day variability and 335 had medium day-to-day variability and 428 had high day-to-day variability. Coming to the severe hypoglycemia, 39 had low day-to-day variability and 34 had medium and 130 had high day-to-day variability. Coming to the T2DM, the overall hypoglycemia is less and day-to-day variability is less. Only 63% of patients had hypoglycemic events and 199 with medium day-to-day variability and 587 with high day-to-day variability. And nocturnal and hypoglycemia, only 74 had medium day-to-day variability, 16 had low day-to-day variability and 190 had high day-to-day variability. And coming to severe hypoglycemia, it is a negligible number 5, 8 and 14. Next. Hypoglycemia and glycemic variability, the implications. So hypoglycemia and increased risk of mortality. So this is the ECHO trial, first one. Mortality rate increased with occurrence of severe hypoglycemic events. So hypoglycemia events requiring any assistance, medical or non-medical, with blue color, light blue is no previous events and at least dark blue is at least one previous events. With no previous events, the mortality rate is low, even in intensive treatment, and with at least with one previous event, the mortality rate is more. And coming to the standard treatment people also, the mortality rate is low in with no previous events of hypoglycemia, and with at least one previous event of hypoglycemia, the mortality rate is increased drastically. And compared to the coming to the advanced trial, that is impact of severe hypoglycemia on outcomes. So here the number of patients selected with event of severe hypoglycemia, 231 had severe hypoglycemia, and severe hypoglycemia number of patients were 10,909 with no severe hypoglycemia. And the hazard ratio and the events are major macrovascular events with severe hypoglycemia are more 33 and 1114, and major microvascular events are 24 with severe hypo and 1107 with no severe hypo, and all cause deaths are also more in 45 in severe hypo, 996 with no hypos, and CVD deaths 22 with severe hypo and 520 with no severe hypos, and non-CVD deaths 23 with severe hypo and 466 with no severe hypoglycemia. And hazard ratio also varies from 2 to 4. And there is severe hypoglycemia was strongly associated with increased risks of range of adverse clinical outcomes. Glycemic variability and its implications. This is the pre-specified analysis of the DEVOTE trial. Same, dark blue is low variability, light blue is medium variability, gray is high variability. Increasing fasting glycemic variability significantly increases the risk of MACE and all-cause mortality in this slide. So ideally, a basal insulin should have low glycemic variability and low risk of hypoglycemia and ultra long duration of action and smooth flat profile. All this fits into one insulin, that is insulin degludec. Next, hypoglycemia is conclusions. Coming to conclusions, hypoglycemia is often underreported and significantly associated with a wide range of adverse outcomes. Glycemic variability is a contributor to the risk of having hypoglycemia. Options to decrease the risk for glycemic variability and hypoglycemia should be considered when choosing therapeutic strategy. Thank you.